Good morning, David. It's not morning for you.
Morning. Afternoon.
Your East Coast time, right?
1 o'clock. Yep.
Yep, 1 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock for me. And I was just telling David, it's been a busy morning. My hot water heater started leaking. And David, since you're a fitness guy, I was like, should I stop my workout? And then I was like, no, I should finish my workout and then do a hot water heater. I was doing my workout in the garage when I saw that the hot water heater was leaking. And then I was like, well, how fast is it going to leak? Like, is this, no, I'm going to finish my workout.
Right.
and then call all the people that need to be called and figure out. Yeah. Anyway. So this is going to be super fun because I have lots of questions for you.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay. So you're near Cleveland, Ohio.
Correct. So, yep, I'm a little on the west side, and the businesses go from the west side to the south side of Cleveland.
Okay. Right. So we're going to talk about some of your, focus mostly on your co-working business, but I just asked David, like, how should I introduce you? And he said serial entrepreneur. And I was like, that's exactly what I would call you. And I was thinking this morning, I often think about my like interviews and conversations I'm going to have like in the shower or whatever, and I was laughing at myself because I went to business school in my 20s and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, which you have to make something up on your essay, And I remember having this conversation with one of the professors who was kind of a mentor. And I was like, I just want to be a serial entrepreneur. And he was like, okay, well,
That's
he was
awesome.
like trying to give me a path for this, which I was thinking, I was like, if I just met someone like you, then I probably would have been the person who's like, I'll just work for you and watch all the things you do and, be like your sidekick. And I wouldn't have needed business school.
That's awesome. I never knew something like that existed. Growing up, I thought someone owns a business and that's it, not multiple. By never means did I even think I was going to do that. It just kind of rolled into it. But now here I am. I guess it's a thing, right?
I feel like every time I talk to you, you've started something new. So, okay, but I am curious. So you now own 2 co-working spaces, but
Correct.
So everybody knows, like, we're having a relevant conversation with, and David went through our co-working startup school, which is how I got to know you a little bit. So that's why I'm happy to like dive into your, okay. So yeah, tell us about like, how did you start your first business? So you've started over 20, maybe, pick a couple, but you also own a couple of gyms. Like, how did you get into being a business owner? And then I want to talk about like, this mindset of, I can do multiple businesses at once. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So it started years ago. I'll just give you like a snapshot really quick. Ultimately, I started in sales years ago. After I did a little bit of food and beverage, went into network marketing. It's kind of considered like your own business, but I took away from that so many incredible principles.
Wait, will you tell us which one?
Well, one, dedication, persistence.
Yeah. What was the company?
Years ago, it was called Equinox International. It was the fastest growing network marketing company, actually privately held company back in 1995. It was on the cover of Inc. magazine. It was pretty incredible.
What was the product? What were you selling?
Environmental products.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So environmental makeup, face wash, you name it, air purifiers, water filtration, nutritionals. So quite a bit. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And it was pretty incredible. But then going through, my experience on my careers, it landed me to own a couple cafes and a sports bar, do some consulting, got back into the fitness field and doing some more consulting on that side. And it landed me into my first location where I partnered up with a gentleman. And after a couple years, probably about 3 years, we actually just decided to split ways and I took over that business. So about
this was a gym.
The gym.
The
about
gym.
6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
And then I had an opportunity a few years later to purchase 2 other facilities. There was a corporate company that was leaving the area and they contacted me to take that over. So purchase that too. So many people think it's a gym. It's not like really a business. Oh, you must just like to work out.
I think gyms are totally a business. Yeah.
Right. It's truly a business. There's so much back end work to it
And
people
member acquisition.
realize.
It's like co-working. You got to get members, you got to keep them, and billing, and yeah, all the things.
100%.
Actually,
So,
I was telling you that so the plumber that came to deal with the hot water heater saw all my workout equipment, and he's like, "Do you do CrossFit? And you want to talk about CrossFit?" And somehow he was like, "Where do you go?" And I was telling him I belonged to this CrossFit gym that closed. And I said, they had 250 members, which I think should have made them completely profitable. And they just didn't run it like a business. You know, the
right.
guy who owned it had another job, like a W-2 kind of thing. Like so they closed when COVID hit. And I think if I'd known you, and
It would have been yours.
if I'd known, like, yeah, I mean, because they had the customers, right? And they had the community and people loved it and they had great coaches. They had all those ingredients, but the back end,
Yeah.
they were, something they weren't running right. It's totally a business. Yeah.
Yeah. And you see that people in this industry so much because,
Hmm.
again, they like working out, but they don't have that business mindset to how do I adapt? How do I overcome? How do I keep going in the industry? How do I, work off of trends? How do I do my projections? I mean, you name it. So yeah, it's definitely a business. But so I was working out of one club and I had so much back end business to do. I was always the type of person to have an open door policy. So I'd always talk to my obviously staff. I'd always talk to my members. And sometimes I get in conversations with some of my members for over an hour and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's, part of my day's gone.
Yeah.
And that would happen continuously. So it was hard for me to work out of the gym. And then I purchased 2 more gyms. Well, I have 3 times the amount of work.
Right.
I still couldn't get anything done. Even though I go to other gym, I'd still want to be with my members. I'd still want to be with my staff. So it was really difficult. So I took my business at home. So I did all my back end work out of the house, but then COVID hit. And then my wife.
And you have how many kids?
Right. 4 kids.
Right.
And at that time, I want to say all 4 were with us.
We're at home. Yeah.
I got to think about the ages. Maybe one was kind of on his own, but one was on his own. So I had 3 there. So, the kids are home. My wife is home and we can't work together. The dogs are, barking constantly because the kids are home and they're playing. And now kids are coming in and out of the house. And I know we were supposed to separate, but we took a few families that, were close to us and we would obviously stay in contact with them. And
the bubble.
The door was an open door.
Mm-hmm.
So we had nonstop. So I said, I got to get out of this. I have to just find an office, even if it's a closet. I don't need this grand 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 square foot office. I just need a place to stay, close the door, and not be bothered. So I was like, well, where I was with the gym in that center, there was office space, not office spaces, there's commercial property open. And I thought, what an opportunity if I could just have an office there. There has to be other people like me out there. So why not get a place where I can have an office and have other offices so people can share that space with me? Shark Tank idea. Thought, this is incredible.
I have invented this. Yes.
Right. I was so, Jamie, I was so stoked. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And then I started doing the research and here to find out this has been done for decades. Right. I'm like, oh, I missed the boat on it. Right. But where I am.
The big idea.
Right. 100. That's how I was 100%. But my area in Cleveland, Ohio, and around the suburbs, there's nothing like.
No. I mean, which is so interesting about this business model is still you can go to a lot of places where there's not, even where I live, there's not something super close. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So now it's just the education of educating people that we do exist. But yeah, so I thought, what an opportunity, and I ran with it. And the more I researched, the more I understood what should go into a center. And one thing I knew from my background is I would never want to step into something where I don't know about the industry and know what it's about. So that's where I started looking online and, so fortunate to have met you and the opportunity you created for individuals like me to really have a step-by-step plug in and play.
Yeah, you're like my ideal student. You you follow all the content, you show up to the calls, you're
right. You hire a coach, right? If I were, just like in training, just like in, for fitness or whatnot, or any other sport, you have a coach. Yeah. So I needed that coach and I thought you were the best candidate and one, I appreciate it, but you taught me so much to where we opened that location And just kind of randomly, people started to hear about me, and I was not really looking for opportunity, but something kind of fell in my lap. Well, it was another office space, and it was like a no-brainer to do it. So
You're talking about the second location. I know. I was like, wait,
8 months
David,
later,
we're not even open. Were you even open when you
uh,
signed the lease for the second location?
we just opened,
Okay.
and yeah, well, no, I'm sorry.
Everyone listening at home, don't, this is not recommended.
You're right, Jamie. You're right. I was not open yet,
Right.
and I already had that place. I'm getting the place.
I recommend see how it goes. Do you like it? What can you learn from the first location?
I'm an all-in kind of guy, right?
Totally.
If I'm in, I'm in all the way. So yeah, you're right. I wasn't even open yet, and had that place signed up, locked and loaded. So we opened our first place in August of 21, and then January 22, we opened our second location.
Okay.
So within, what is that, 5 months apart?
Yeah, which is also just fast for all of it, because you found the real estate really quickly, like the space that was open next to the gym, because that can take months and months. So you were already moving faster than most
This
people.
is definitely not something I recommend by any means. So don't put my story as an example.
Right. So now you have 5 physical location businesses that you're managing. So do you office out of one of the spaces?
I do. So, well, I office out of both. I use a shared space, a dedicated desk at one location, and a full office at the other. But, fortunately, I have such a great team on the gym side where they're almost hands-off operational for me. I mean, I have the conference calls twice a week. I visit them once a week, but they run themselves. I have a great staff, and that's what was able to allow me to do what I'm doing currently. So I'm still in the co-working spaces are great. It's not like a retail business as the gyms are.
Gym,
so it's such a different business, and I love it. One, I love the networking, just like the gyms. But you're not hustling to sell membership. Well, you are, but not. Personal training and services. Right. It is definitely different.
Do you think the customer acquisition process is easier for co-working? I don't know a lot about the gym, except that probably is there more churn in the gym? Like, have you sort of
there's more
doing
churn,
it enough to compare?
There's more churn, but I would say the presence of the gym is a little easier. Again, in my area, you have to educate people about co-working. So
everybody knows about the gym and what the options are. And so,
you have people just funneling through your doors through the gym.
Yeah.
Co-working in my area is a little bit different. So it's been nonstop.
Well, so I'm curious about the mindset around, there's people who open co-working spaces and they operate them. Some people will open one and like run it themselves, which is one end of the spectrum. And then there's you who's like, yeah, I have, three gyms.
3 gyms.
Yeah. And you've written a book and you have a podcast and you're coaching. I mean, you've got so many things going on. Yeah. How do you, what do you think about the argument around like focus? How do you look at like, okay, if I just devoted all my time to the gym, it would be better, or all my time to or do you think there's some like synergy to having all of these things in your brain?
I think you have to have a great team, again, and communication has to be clear. Expectations have to be clear. Communication has to be clear. And you have to have the right people in place. So, I didn't want to become an entrepreneur to be an employee of my business.
You didn't want to make yourself a job.
Correct.
Right.
So, now the co-working center is different because we're a little bit smaller of spaces. We go from about 2,500 to 5,000 square feet. So, I don't necessarily need a huge community manager to run everything. Now, that is something I'm definitely looking forward towards to do more networking programs and things like that, more community outreach. But I kind of do the hands-on operations for the co-working centers. But to keep it all in, focus, you definitely need to be organized. Unfortunately, my brain just does not shut off, which gets me in trouble at home.
That's why you have to keep starting new businesses because.
Right. Yeah. I get bored easy too. Right. But again, some of that's, on the home front is tough. But I always stay focused, and I always stay my mind running and thinking about new ideas and new things, because you have to adapt, you have to challenge yourself, you have to keep pushing yourself forward in your current businesses. So I'm always thinking about that.
You know what? That was one of my questions that I wrote down when I was thinking about, like, what do I want to talk to David about? Is this, like, I was like, okay, part of some of your business, like, or maybe they're both doing a little bit of each at the same time. Like the idea of operating versus innovating. Because the serial entrepreneur thing, I actually think when I said that to my, mentor, I think it was because I was like, I just want to build stuff. I don't want to operate stuff,
Right.
I just want to make it and then do the next thing.
Yep.
You operate and have to have lots of systems in place, like you mentioned with your team. Are you an EOS guy?
Yep.
Yeah. So frameworks, and you're starting something new. Like, can you just maybe talk about how you manage that, or how you grew into that? Or
I think our mindset definitely is like that, and mine is as well. As a multiple business owner, it is to where you have all these ideas, and you kind of just want it to go fall into place, because our mind is already on to the next idea.
Yeah.
And I find that's tough. And I've operated for so long. I think that's where I try and pull myself back from, is I know I have to have this system in place. I know I have to communicate it to my team. I know we need this to move forward. It's still tough though, because I still do have all these ideas. Now, again, my team is great, because they're probably like, oh my gosh, here we go again, or something else. And I keep throwing them things. Meanwhile, we haven't even completed our first task, last task, So it is definitely tough. It is definitely a struggle, to where I have to tone back and say, okay, let's get this completed first. There are some things that slip through my fingers that I still actually noticed something today. I'm like, oh, I totally forgot to do this, where I said I do it.
Got to go back to it. Right. Versus moving on to like.
It is tough. That mindset is tough. It is a daily struggle every day to make sure that I'm not going over what I can accomplish. So I need to make sure everything is set before I do the next one. It's hard, because I still keep doing it. But, I write it down and then rifle this in as I think we're close to completion on one, and keep going forward. Yeah. But it's crazy, because so many things have just fallen into place, like the co-working, from the gyms to the co-working, and then like even the coffee. I mean,
let's talk about the coffee.
I'm not trying to go out there as you drink yours. I'm not trying to go out there and absolutely try and get all these businesses. It just kind of fell in my lap. I should have totally just grabbed a mug with my
You totally should be right.
And plugged it in.
I know. I had to drink mine, because I'm like a 1 cappuccino a day, and my husband will wake up and has to have his coffee right away. And this morning I was like, we have a problem. There's water in the garage. And he was like, I just woke up, which is code for I have to get my coffee before I deal with our water problem. I was like, oh my God.
You need to work out. He needed his coffee.
Totally. Exactly.
After that, you could take on the world.
I mean, basically, I was like, okay, order of priority, forget the water damage. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about, the coffee opportunity.
Yeah. So I was with my friend, and I've known this individual for over a decade now, probably about 13 years. No, geez, holy smokes. Since 2006, whatever that time is, right? When I was in the fitness business and I got out of that, I was a supervisor for a big company on the fitness side, and I just wasn't a politic kind of guy and had to play corporate politics. So I got out of that and wanted to get back into food and beverage. So I wanted to do healthy smoothies and healthy salads and sandwiches. So there's this individual that had multiple locations in Cleveland, and I touched base with them, and I bought into his licensing. So this gentleman along the way became partners with a company called Arabica Coffee House. Now, Arabica at the time in Cleveland was a Starbucks before Starbucks. In Cleveland, there were over 40 locations of Arabica coffee houses around.
That's got to be pretty unusual to have that many locations of
crazy.
Wow.
Really crazy. And they started to actually go globally as well back then. Few years forward, this individual, Scott, he started developing the menu side for Arabica Coffee House, implemented that. Well, the owners of Arabica at the time were kind of not putting all hands on deck with the company and growing the company, and it kind of started to go down. So Scott bought everything and he became the owner of Arabica Coffee House. Now it's great because they have over 100 locations worldwide. So they're definitely a globally recognized brand for gourmet coffee. But step forward, we were hanging out and he goes, "What do you think about putting coffee in your gym?" And I said, "Well, I did that prior to COVID but I just have an urn full of Folgers and let people help themselves."
Did you say Folgers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. We're evolving.
Basic coffee bag.
Yep.
Right. So obviously after COVID, I took that away during COVID, took that away, never brought it back. So he was talking about, why don't we size down the Arabica Coffee House menu, make it like an Arabica Express, maybe some light snack food, whatnot, but focus just on coffee, run it as a ghost kitchen out of your business, out of the gym, so you can have all your delivery service like DoorDash and Grubhubs and Uber Eats come out of there, but also market to your members. I have members walking through the door anyway with Starbucks in their hands or Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
They're getting that anyway.
Yep.
Might as well keep it in-house. So we ran with it and we started going with it, and it's doing really well. It's exciting. So we were like, why don't we put it in one of the co-working centers? So the other co-working center I have is away from the gyms.
Yeah.
It's a little bit bigger size. So no brainer. Let's put it in there. So one thing led into another. And then especially on the gym side, I know a lot of other gym owners in the area. And I said, guys, this is great. This is an opportunity for you to bring, even if it's a few $1,000s extra to the bottom line, very little startup. It's a great revenue source. And we already have a desk staff on hands anyway. I don't need this big barista. Yep. We, again, scaled it to where anybody could do it. Your front desk staff can do it. And there you go. You don't need extra labor or anything. So we were like, well, if people are interested, we might as well license this out. So we have 4 locations currently in Cleveland. We have 2 more coming on board in the next couple months. We have a location in Florida opening up.
In Florida.
Yeah, we have an opportunity now to go globally with a franchisee of World Gym. So we're in talks with World Gym to offer that to all the franchises across the world. So, we have 230 gyms across the world. So we have the opportunity to reach out to them and be a preferred vendor with World Gym and put it in all the locations if chosen.
So do you think, because I think it used to be, and even with co-working spaces, this sounds like so basic, but just the little shift of, you could, sell to delivery services feels like a very big deal, because if you talk, I would assume gyms are kind of like this, like you have to have a lot of volume to make money on coffee. Like, it's inexpensive, but just to if you have, labor, if you have to devote labor to it.
Right.
And co-working spaces, a lot of them will say, yeah, we don't make money on the coffee business unless they're, it's catering and they're doing kind of a bigger offering. Do you think it's the delivery piece that kind of flips that over and gives you enough volume to make it meaningful?
It definitely helps. I mean, that's a good size. As long as you market correctly, it's a great opportunity to have extra revenue coming in. On the member side, plus you could do catering. I mean, it's open to where you could do so much just working out of your shop. Now, and with that, your business alone, with the coffee shops, you don't need to pay rent because you're already doing that.
Right.
Now,
right.
I set up my businesses to where that does pay my gym rent for another extra revenue source, but just tax purposes and whatnot. But it's such a little cost, so you don't need a huge volume to even make a profit there. So again, even if it's, you don't have such high volume, it's still money to the bottom line.
Yeah.
And,
and your gym staff, that's fine. You're not overwhelming them by having to service what comes in.
No.
Okay.
It's pretty easy.
And do you make lattes?
We do make lattes. So I don't do hot espressos, but there's a thing called toddy mix. It's concentrated coffee that you make. Okay. So it's just like an espresso.
Okay. But it's not hard for the the front desk they're not stressed about like whether they got the heart in the milk the right way. We do
No.
coffee drinks, but it's
Correct.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And so size down, we try and do it. Scott is great too, because we've both been operators for so long.
Yeah.
So as easy as we can keep it.
Right. You're really laser focused on make it simple.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%. So, but not only that, with the members then too, as far as the revenue, there's so much you could do. We do a thing where if you pre-order before our group exercise class, I go into a class, you pre-order, drink will be ready for you at the end of class.
I love that. It's that's also, I keep struggling with this, like the difference between hospitality and service. Like service is like, I have something you can buy, but I like that they're still buying something from you, but like, David, you're going to have my drink ready when I'm done with class.
Right.
That's lovely. It's lovely. And for you, it's like maybe operationally easier to like
100%.
batch them. But
100%.
for me, I'm like, wait, you're just going to hand me a drink when I come out of class? Thank you. Like hospitality,
Right. There's so many opportunities. It's great.
Yeah.
And it does show your members a little extra. And same thing in the co-working center too. We could do the same thing when someone has a conference here and put your Georgia drinks in prior, and we'll have it ready to you, or we'll deliver it to you. We have it in the co-working center as well, where it's on our website. You can order online. So it's curbside service. So you tell us when you're here or what time you expect it, text us when you get here, and we deliver the coffee right to you.
Right. So again, you're getting either delivery service or anybody, which is you're marketing like to a different audience. But I was thinking about that too, because people are, well, it was on our call. I think it came up like our group call with the operator. Somebody was like, what else can I sell to my members?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not just what else can I sell to my members? Because that's a portion of your revenue, but it's like, what else can I sell in this physical space that I'm paying rent on?
100%. 100%.
There's overlap. It's not like you're selling something totally ridiculous that doesn't fit at all, because you have to do coffee. You want to provide a nice coffee setup anyway.
Right.
And it's a great way to give people snacks. People are always trying to figure out like, how do I run like a snack system in the space? And a lot of people do like honor system, but like people can get smooth. Do you do light food or just smoothie? Like a smoothie?
We do. So we're just starting in the co-working center. I had many people here. It's like, if you do breakfast sandwiches.
Oh my God.
I said, well, I'm not set up to do like full cooking.
Yeah.
I get a little convention oven and I can just put in a frozen breakfast sandwich. That's all. We'll take it. So, again, people are spending that anyway outside of our doors.
Right.
We might as well keep it inside.
You're making it easy for them because they can get it there.
So it's convenience, it's service we're giving. And that's also a draw for the co-working center to, hey, you have a cafe right in here for you. And it's great. Literally, my space there is not even an 8x10 space, probably 7.5 by 9 foot space. And that has a 3-compartment sink in there.
That's crazy.
I mean,
like the size of a small office.
We designed it to where you can have little space and the least amount of effort to do.
You have to plumb it. So you have to have plumbing in the front of the space.
You do. So, and well, not necessarily, because if you have it somewhere else, as long as it's accessible, you don't have to have it right there.
Okay. Good point. Okay. But you have to have plumbing wherever you're putting this.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's super simple. So back to everything. It just kind of fell into place. It's crazy. Again, as a kid, I never thought, hey, I want to be a serial entrepreneur. Never even knew that.
You're just kind of like following the breadcrumbs and things that overlap and fit and make sense.
Correct.
So I'm curious at this point, like how much like spreadsheet analysis do you do on these opportunities versus like, I think that's a fit. Let's run some numbers and do it. But like, do you get like super analytical, or do you just kind of, let's try it?
A little bit of both, to be honest with you. I mean, again, I'm an all hands in kind of guy. Sometimes I do those spreadsheets after I get in and do the analysis. But it's funny, I'll create my own spreadsheets. And my wife actually last week, she looked over my shoulder and she saw what I was doing. She goes, who made that? I'm like, I did. It was a full like spreadsheet of all the breakdowns and percentages for the day, for the month. And she's like, oh my, I didn't even know you could do that. I'm like, well, self-taught, but I can do
Yep.
it. To know your numbers is almost everything. You do have to plan, you do have to go in, you do have to know what you're looking for, what your projections, your performas, you have to know all that. You're big on that, right? I mean,
Yes, I'm very big on the numbers. Yeah.
So you do. And in all honesty, you've taught me a lot of that, even more than what I did in my gyms prior. I think I mentioned to you before, man, you've helped me not only in the co-working space, but also business tools that I can use in the gyms as well. One of those was that also to really focus on. I did a little bit, but now I really focus on a lot more.
Yeah. Well, and now you probably also some of that is natural. Like you just have to, because you're not in the gym. You're spread across a little bit. So is there any staff, the location that's next to the gym? How do you, is there a staff person that's in there that's shared with the gym, or that's like self-serve?
It's self-serve. I have someone that comes in and cleans it every so often. I'm in there probably 3 times a week. So if something needs stocked or if anything needs changed out or whatnot, I do. I have a maintenance gentleman that comes throughout the gym, so he targets those as well.
Perfect.
So that was kind of nice.
Yep.
The little small, and actually both of them, I set it up where it's really hands off. So once you sign up, everything's sent you in an email, and then everything's digitally, from the door access to scheduling to, everything's pretty hands off.
Yep.
So it makes it a lot easier on my end. But I definitely like to show my face and talk to everybody and build that kind of community as well.
But there is there's somebody in the bigger location because they're making coffee.
There is on the coffee side. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so they're not necessarily, are they cross-trained on the co-working space? Like, can they give a tour?
It's my son, so I cross-train him on everything.
Shut up. I love it. Okay.
So this one, I couldn't do it. And I don't want to be here at 5 a.m. doing coffee. So I said, listen, we'll split the business. You run an operation.
Get him started on the entrepreneurial side. Okay.
He already has that mindset. He's a big musician and he runs his band like a business, which I love. So I gave him a little more of an opportunity. So
very nice. Okay. So does he do tours or
he has not as much. I obviously like to be that first person. There's a time I'm on vacation or out of town.
Yeah.
And I tell him, hey, you got to look at this and you got to show the space. And, I'm behind the scenes and you got to make sure you ask this question. Nice. You got to get to know them, so I probably don't teach them in the traditional manner, but and then I'm on the cameras watching them. What are you doing? Why didn't you ask this?
No, poor guy.
I know.
That's funny. So that, it's interesting that you give the tours. People probably relate to you very well.
I try to.
Yeah. I think owners struggle with letting the tours go because other business owners in particular, like if they know you're the owner, like they just love that. Right. And I'm sure you mentioned, you're like, well, I think I'm going to do some business coaching because people keep asking me questions.
Right. Yeah, we did talk about that.
I'm sure there's some of that that happens in people like, oh, I want to be in a place like with someone like me, that's like gets me. So I can see the value. I'm sure at some point you'll stop because, well, I don't know. What's the co-working vision? Is it more locations or what are you thinking?
I'm always open to the right opportunity. At this point, I cannot put on any more on my plate simply because my wife would absolutely have a coronary. So
we were out of town this weekend and there was a guy down the street that we met and it's like, it's like 3 kids at home. He's like, it's so nice to be here by myself. And then he's like, but I got to go back because I have twins and it's their birthday. And I was like, that guy's getting some divorce papers.
Oh, yeah, no
what are you doing, buddy?
Right.
Oh my God. Everybody likes a little me time, but not on your twins' birthdays.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I almost said it to him. My husband would have been mortified.
Oh, yeah. My papers would have been served quick.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Wait, okay. So let's flip back to the coffee business. So you license, like if I'm a co-working space owner, I can set up this licensed kiosk. So I'm licensing the brand and the how-to.
Yeah. So we really, again, because we're operators, we wanted to set this up almost like a franchise, but without all the franchise fees. Because we're an operator, we
And the
know how to
legal
train.
requirements for franchises are like so
Right.
crazy. Yeah.
Right. So we'll train, we'll set up, we'll design the space, we'll take all the work off of it for you in the beginning, obviously, and set everything up. And then we have the ongoing promotions monthly. We'll do the ongoing training. If there's someone else that needs onboarding, we'll try and fit it in our schedule, but we'll do it. We'll get it done for you. But yeah, so we want to put the whole support system in place like a franchise would without paying all those crazy royalties. So for a couple $100 a month, you get a globally branded coffee, gourmet coffee right in your business.
And you're sending me like the Canva files for whatever the pumpkin spice special
Correct.
is for the month or
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
All the recipes, all the promotions. Yeah, everything is right there for you.
Is there a website for this? How do people find out more about this?
Sure. Arabica-express.com.
Express. I like it. Got it. Okay. I'm going to put that in the show notes.
Not like spelled out dash, the little dash,
Got it. Yep. Perfect. Yeah, I love that. I think it's super interesting. And the co-working model, I don't know. What do you think about the business model compared to like a gym? Like margins, like what's your kind of takeaway to date?
I love it. I wish I would have listened to you a little bit more. Well, it's kind of been a shift in the last couple years.
Yeah, well, that's for sure.
Going into COVID, there was more open space, more need for an open space. I think people liked it a little bit more. It was more kind of out there, and the networking, obviously. And then COVID hit, and that shift changed a little bit.
Yep.
And I think everybody wants that privacy more than kind of that open space work. Now, that might be in my area, but I've designed my places to where we have private offices. We have an area for dedicated desk. So you have 4 or 5 individuals sharing an office that are kind of set up as cubicles. And then you have the open space, where I thought the open space and the shared space, because it's more budget friendly,
super affordable, right? Very approachable,
hot opportunity. And that's just not the case. Everybody goes for the private offices right now.
Yeah.
So you were actually talking about this at one point, and I don't know, I forget if it was on a conference call or we were talking about it through the group site, but it was about the shared office space. And at this point, I should have just went with more private offices.
Yeah, it's tricky. Says pretty much everyone. It might be a combination of, so you opened at kind of an interesting time, right? Like you had this idea during COVID and then you executed without sort of seeing like, how's this all going to fall out? And and you're in a suburb. And so, yeah, hard to know.
That's, the thing about the suburbs in my town is a lot of people don't want to drive into downtown. Now our downtown is it's not a big metropolis.
Yeah, it's easy to get in and park, and people just don't want to go.
If you're in a traffic jam, you could still get into downtown in 30 minutes, 30, 45 minutes, not like Atlanta where it's 5 hours to get into downtown.
Yeah.
So, but people, that mindset, they still don't like driving into downtown. So that was my thought, is build it in the suburbs, 10 minutes from my house. I can get in, do my stuff, and that's it.
Yep.
So I wanted to avoid kind of that.
Yeah.
Smart,
which I think
not smart.
I think it'll turn out to be smart. If any sort of, slower ramp up for you is probably just like you said, like just people that aren't aware of it yet. So
that's it. But the private offices go. I mean,
they go quickly. People find
all my private offices are full.
Yep.
And it didn't take long to get the private offices full.
Yeah.
And once those go, it's everything else they're trying to build now.
Yep.
What's is good though, coming out of COVID, and it took a little bit as well, I'm starting to see more now of conference space rental,
meeting room, and great
meetings are coming back. Yeah. Businesses are meeting with their teams more, so that has been helpful.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably someone on your staff somewhere who wants to be the community person and start running your networking events. Okay, so let's talk about the coaching. And, the coaching piece is interesting. Maybe there's like some office hours or some, what are you thinking? What's going on there?
I everything pulls me in that direction right now. From people asking questions to, I mean, just little things, people online, the podcasting.
Oh wait, yes, and you have a wait. Can you talk about the podcast? I had so many things on the list. I haven't even talked about like your. Why don't we use this as an opportunity? You wrote a book and you started a podcast. Can you talk about those two things a little bit and seg into the coaching?
Sure. So a few years ago, someone reached out to me. They heard this time I just had the gyms, and they wanted to do a podcast of just interviewing me. They wanted to interview entrepreneurs and kind of see what has helped them become successful and blah, blah, blah. This gentleman's name is Adam Torres. He owns a company called Mission Matters. One of the most humble, down-to-earth individuals. He is incredible. But he goes out there and helps entrepreneurs tell their stories to help other people kind of gain from that, gain from those other individuals' experience. He's incredible person, incredible company too. So we started doing the podcast, and we talked beforehand to ask some questions and see how I'd fit with it. And then they were like, would you be open to writing a book? And I'm like, no, but I'm definitely curious, so his company also it's a full media company. So they do the podcasting, they do obviously the book writing. So there was a few of us that wrote in together. So we have some chapters in the same book, but it allowed me to discuss some of my success principles, going a little bit more deeper than I did the podcasting in this book. And they published it and it came out, and it's been great. So him and I have developed a friendship together and always still stayed in contact with each other. So he had an opportunity to start doing podcasting, and he was looking for people to be on his podcast network. So he asked me, and I was like, I've never done podcasting before. And if you've never done podcasting, you have to start being so conscious of how you talk, how you articulate your words, your verbiage, everything. And that's not me. Like this is more me, and I probably fumbled so much. I want to do that if I was interviewing, but it's a different entity, and I was nervous of it, and I was kind of scared. I feared it a little bit. So I said, if I'm nervous about it, if I fear for that, that's the reason I should do this. So I said, let's go for it. What I would like to do is something similar to you, to where I could talk to individuals who scale their business, who become successful and help build businesses, whether if it's someone just as a manager or a supervisor or whatnot in any field, whether it's medical or attorneys or you name it. So that's what we do. So I do a podcast where I interview entrepreneurs and kind of talk about how they scale their business. Again, not only entrepreneurs, but all walks of life.
How do you find your guests? Are they from your network, or does the
they have been from my network? I had a few people reach out online that would like to be a guest as well. Some people I just talk to here and there randomly, and I think they'd be a great guest. They have an interesting story. I can communicate well with them. So I always put out there, hey, would you like to be a guest on our podcast network? So well.
How does doing the podcast fit into everything? So maybe this is the coaching sec. Does it fit, or is it just like
it fits? And to be honest, it's probably the most fun I have in everything I do, because you just sit around, you talk to someone, you get to know someone on a more intimate level, and you just have a conversation with them, and I build a relationship within that hour, and it's fantastic. I love it. So crazy thing, and this is it out of everything I do. So a gentleman reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he said, I saw your book with Adam. Adam was a student of mine. And I'm like, get the heck out of here. So Adam is a student of a gentleman called Chris. Well, his name is Christopher Kai. So Christopher Kai is a global speaker. He's incredible. If you ever have a chance to look him up, he's fantastic. And not only speaking, but his interviews, he's interviewed some of the best, Elon Musk. I mean, it is incredible. His network is absolutely incredible. But he has a whole coaching program where he'll help teach you and coach you on building your business, guest speaking, things like that. So again, I'm all about coaching. So I reached out, or after he reached out to me, I said, yeah, I definitely want to be a part of your team. So that's where coaching came from. And he's like, you have to monetize what you're doing. Your time is of value.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing a lot of things and you offer a lot of services that you could benefit from.
Yeah.
So that's where that led.
So here we are. Okay. So have you started taking clients?
I'm still doing
yet?
it for free.
Yeah, right. I know, but now you have an audience because you've written a book and you know, those are a lot of things that a lot of coaches don't have. And that's back to sort of the business part of it. That can be a real challenge for coaches, right? They don't have a process or they don't have a funnel for clients. And so he was probably like, dude, you got the funnel and now you just need to apply a process. And
when we started talking about co-working, he's like, you have a co-working center,
right? And a place
gyms.
like, yeah,
it's incredible because it's just a built-in network.
Yeah.
And again, with the co-working center, it's people who are already looking for that anyway. It's a natural building.
Yeah.
Scary thing for me is I don't want to take on clients where I can't commit to. You know, I'm pulled in so many different directions sometimes. So to stick to, we're doing this at 12 o'clock, it's tough because a conference call may come up or I need to do this for another business. So I don't want to, you know, I don't want someone to pay for something that they would get upset at me for not following through.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm on the border with that. I would have to let something go
to be able to really kind of dive into that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you never know what door might open and
never know. I'm always interested in selling and to open up free time for me. So if anybody's looking for gyms, for sure.
Okay. I'll put a link to your podcast. What's the podcast called?
Podcast is Scaling Your Business.
Right.
And actually it can be found on my website, davidandrus.com.
Okay. We'll put both in the show notes. Awesome. Wait, where do you record? Do you record at the space?
Yep. So I built one of the private offices. When all this was going on, I still had one small office available. And I was like, well, I might as well turn this into a podcast center and then have people rent it out and whatnot. So literally I have a podcast room that has all the styrofoam, you know, sound absorbing things in there. I have a green screen in here.
Oh, wow.
So, yep.
Wait, is that what I'm looking at behind you or is that just a background?
That's a background.
Okay.
But it's on a green screen.
Okay. So does anybody else use it? Do you have any other podcasters?
Yeah, it's just been mostly members already, but I have members in the other center that will come out here and use a podcast center too.
Nice. Okay. I like it. And you charge for it just like a meeting room?
Typically, yes. Okay. For my members, I give them credit towards whether it is the podcast room or the meeting rooms or the conference room. So they use their credits.
Yep. Wait, how are you billing your members? What system are you using?
Archie.
Oh, you did go with Archie. Okay. Happy with Archie?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's always tweaks you could do, but it works comfortable for me.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then equipment, are you using a microphone? Anything fancier than kind of you get the same microphone I do. I can't figure out how to get mine like off because I'm like, I have to talk right into it. So we just did I do this series called How I Did This. And I had a bunch of our either co-working startup school or flight group folks who have their own podcasts. And we had so many of them, you would have been on the list, but I had them come on and share their, how they use it. And does it promote their business? And then I had an email from somebody afterwards. He's like, hey, you didn't really talk about equipment, which I'm sure I promised to talk about like in the advertisement of the session. And I was like, oh my God, I was so into their stories that I never
That's wild that they would even bring that up.
One of them shared, she has like the Rodecaster, like $2,500 like mixing board, which is actually, I'll just mention this for anybody listening, is the cool thing about it is she doesn't have an editor. She has her intro. She like has it recorded into this mixer. Right. She just hits a button and does so it's like kind of edits it all together.
Right. I've seen
those. She has a little ad in the middle. It just plays that. So it kind of might be worth it. Do you have an editor or how do you get yours done?
I don't. So with the Mission Matters Network, I record and I do.
They do it all.
Soundboard. So I have like a little mixer.
Okay.
But I send it right into them. They edit it.
They just do it all. Write your show notes. They do everything.
Yep.
That's
a fantastic way. They're always looking for good people. So as long as, they fit, you got to kind of fit their mold, which I love. It's genuine people that just truly want to share their story and serve people. If you fit that mold, they're open to, and his network is huge. His podcasting is already on Spotify, Apple, all the big name podcast
Yeah, they do it all
there.
for you. That's I love that. That's so easy for you. That's why you can fit it in. I was like, podcasting's practically a job. So, but not if you're just sending the file. I have some of that set up, the editing and the anyway. Okay, that's helpful to know. Cool. Okay. I could keep talking to you for hours, but
anytime.
I'm sure you have, lots to do. And also I feel like, I think about when I do these episodes, like I should ask like more practical things but I just love the stories. And I think for me, the perspective is people who are maybe not open-minded to, I can do more than one thing. I can do more than have a co-working space. Because for some people, like to make the business work, you have smaller ones that are not fully staffed. If you want it to like pay your mortgage, you have to have a larger space. And so you have to go hard in that, and they're more expensive to start and all the things. It can be one of the things that you do. So I love sharing those stories, and you have a great all around story. So thank you for taking the time to do this today.
One of these times we got to role reverse. So next time I interview you.
Okay, maybe. Yes. So anyway, if you want more of David's perspective, I'll put the links to his podcast and get more kind of straightforward business talk. But thank you for sharing your story. And
no, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.